My guest today is Ted Fischer, co-founder and CEO of Ageless Innovation, the producers of the Joy for All companion pets. In 2015, Ted joined Hasbro as Vice President, Business Development, and later that year led the launch of the Joy for All brand, Hasbro's first ever property focused on older adults. 3 years later, he and his former Hasbro teammates founded Ageless Innovation and acquired the Joy for All brand in a friendly management spin-out. Ted, we're so pleased that Ageless Innovation's Joy for All has won a series of our caregiver-friendly awards from today's Caregiver magazine over the years, well-deserved. And we've had them at the Fearless Caregiver conferences, and I see how responsive caregivers and seniors who come to the events are. Can you tell me a bit about Ageless Innovation, its mission, its purpose?
Sure. Well, Gary, first, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it, and we have really appreciated the partnership. As we know, there's so many issues facing older adults today, and the work you do is certainly providing multiple resources, and we're just proud to be associated with that. So thank you for that. So Ageless Innovation, the reason we spun out of Hasbro is pretty simple. We saw just the tremendous growing needs of the older adult population, the tremendous opportunity that we felt there was to bring things like fun and joy and play to older adults to really improve well-being and health outcomes and those type of things. And so we wanted to focus 100% on older adults, their families, their caregivers. And that was going to be difficult inside of Hasbro because they have a little different demographic that they're focused on. So when we left Hasbro about 5 years ago, my team that helped sort of conceive and launch the Joy for All brand, we traveled together, and Hasbro was incredibly supportive of this, and they recognized the opportunity and thought we had a better opportunity to impact more older adults if we were sort of on our own and 100% focused on that. So we're excited to be continuing to innovate in this space and work with older adults and their families.
Well, love is ageless, and no matter what cognitive challenges you might have, I've seen the videos, and I've also seen in person when you have somebody who is, in some version of Alzheimer's, might be withdrawn to themselves, and you put one of your dogs or your cats or your pets in their arms, and they liven up. And they start petting and they start playing. For them, it's a real pet, and giving love is great medicine, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And the initial intent was sort of play, enjoy, and fun, but what we couldn't have imagined is really the impact that our pets have had on older adults in sort of really two key areas. One is dementia and Alzheimer's, and the other is loneliness and isolation. And so we didn't anticipate in 2018 that a few years later we'd be in a pandemic where loneliness and isolation, despite the fact that we were already in an epidemic of loneliness and isolation for older adults, the pandemic actually shone a huge spotlight on it. I mean, who didn't, sit there and watching their news during the pandemic and see like the 87-year-old grandmother in the window with her family 100 feet away, like waving from a car. Like, it was heartbreaking. We feel very lucky that our products at that time, especially through state offices of aging, were being distributed to those most in need, those that were really isolated, those who were really being, sort of partitioned away from not just their family, but their peers. And so it was happening in community-based living, it was happening in independent living. So that magic that you talked about, there's a lot of technology under the fur. We never really talk about the technology much. We kind of talk about the magic that happens when you present that pet to somebody and they name it immediatay, and the relationship starts. And the technology was really built on this idea of give and take, so that when you gave something like a hug or a pet, you got something in return. Like a typical pet reaction might be a meow or a purr or a bark or a head turn or a little nuzzle kind of thing. So we tried to incorporate that into the product, and it really has been amazing, the realism and sort of that whatever, whether it's memory or it's just, those that have had pets their whole life, there's an immediate, sort of thing. You don't have to read the directions. You don't have to go into a great technical explanation. You sort of take it out of the box, it starts purring, and you can figure out what to do from there,
And I had one of the cats up next to me on a stage at an event. And as I was talking, she was responding and no one's paying attention to me. So
Right. Yeah, I speak, on the topic quite a bit at conferences and the like. And the second I turn on the pet, no matter how bad I'm bombing, no one's paying attention to me anyway. It doesn't matter.
As the holidays fast approach, we like to do a series of these interviews we call holiday board of directors meetings, meeting this caregiver, the family caregiver is the CEO. They're the ones where everything's on them. Well, you're a CEO, you get this, and all the decisions and all the pain and all the challenges and all the sleepless nights. And the family stereotypically, will come in now that it's safe to do again, come in for the holiday and, think they're doing a lot, spending time and leave. And we like to take this opportunity for a caregiver to help train their board of directors. They call the family members board of directors.
Right.
And topic specific. One might be on hospice. What is that about? One might be on partnering with the doctor. One in particular we wanted to talk to you about, and I'm very excited that we're having this conversation, is about how to explain to your board of directors, your family who's just in for a few days, the importance of battling social isolation and making sure your loved one remains involved, and even if they're cognitively not able to do much.
Yeah, so it's one of the things we continue to learn about, and we've learned a lot about, is how our products have not just had deep impact on the end user, right, the older adult who it's intended for, but for the board of directors, for the CEO, for the caregiver that is looking for opportunities, one, to interact in a meaningful way. So we hear stories all the time, get testimonials about our product being a bridge that helps caregivers really connect, especially in situations where there may be some cognitive impairment or some form of dementia. There can be agitation, there can be sundowning, there can be all these things, and it makes it very difficult for caregivers to not be hands-on 100% all the time. And what we hear is that our product has given them some respite. Our product has given them a bridge to make difficult transitions, or in areas where maybe psychotropic medications were used because people were getting extremely agitated, they're now using our pets and not having the side effects, which is really amazing when you think about it. And so, one of the things that we've tried to focus on as we think about product development and innovation is it's more than just the end user, right? So we're most focused on the older adult. We want them to have a product that really means something to them. But if we can also, by making those products, we've created now some games, we have the new Walker Squawker, all of them are intended to not just have the impact on the lonely, isolated older adult, but also bring people together. We hear also that, people who weren't sort of gregarious members of their community or outgoing, who family members were worried about because they weren't socializing with other folks, once they have the pet, they become the center of attention. So people have come to them, which is, it's not asking them to change who they are or how they act, but all of a sudden they become a bit of the center of attention, which family members said has been a game changer in terms of their social interaction. So for all the things that, you were asking about, I think what we try to do is think about what will make the end user really happy, and then think about how will that have impact and what can we do to enhance that relationship with caregivers and loved ones.
I love that. And honestly, in all this time, I didn't really think about that. I should have, because it's a caregiver friendly product, that it's supportive to the caregiver as well. And it also, I think anything that takes psychotropic drugs out of the mix is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
And anything that allows your loved one to give love, that's so much of infantilization happens sometimes with people who are dealing with cognitive challenges, and they know it. And so now they just feel like they're just taking, and they lost their role as mother, as father, and that you can give them something to care for once again is, I think there's hardly anything better for their mental acuity.
Yeah, no, we agree, and we've been fortunate enough to see it ourselves, but also hear about it now. We just announced our 500,000th pet adoption, and so the number of testimonials and letters that we get on a daily, weekly basis, and we don't take them for granted. Like, we read everyone, and we actually, as we meet as a team on a weekly basis, everybody sort of brings one that means something to them. We want to stay grounded in this work and why the impact of our product is not just it's not just something that we care about, it's that others care about, and we keep that, the folks who are at the end of this sort of continuum, our end users. We want to keep them in mind every single day and understand what's working, what's not working, and what we can do to innovate and improve.
Well, like everything, you learn from the people you're looking to support.
Right, 100%.
And I love that you use the phrase adopt. I wanted to talk to you about it. First of all, congratulations on 500,000 pets out there that don't have to be walked.
Right.
Nothing to pick up. They don't have to be fed. They don't have to go to the vet.
Yeah, we have a few taglines, and one of them is, no litter box, just love, no vet bills, just love, and so the idea is, it's sort of the carefree, version of the pet, hopefully for the end user.
Well, they honestly, they really are so realistic. When we take them out of the box at the conferences, people can't, help but come up and pet. And they like the cats. They love when the cat rolls over or it purrs in response. And I'm like, okay, these are the caregivers, and they're getting love out of the product as much as their loved ones dealing with cognitive challenges are. So It kind of works all the way around.
Yeah, that's it, and it is. I go to quite a few conferences as well, and it's pretty funny to watch people walk by, because a lot of people have, like, the bowl of, like, $1 bills, and if you guess the amount, you win the pot. We don't have any of that. We just have the pets sitting there, sort of, and no one really wants to talk to us. They just really want to come over and sort of pet the pets and understand, sort of what's going on. And for people who don't know, it's they're amazed by the whole idea of it.
Well, it's the same thing when I got my dog who's under my desk. I realized that nobody at all knows what my face looks like anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny, because I always say, if any speech or talk that I'm giving is going downhill, I just turn the pets on immediately, and it takes all the pressure off, because no one cares.
Well, your speech is that. This is
exactly
everything you need to say is in that pet who's squawking or meowing or barking.
Right.
Speaking of squawking, tell me a bit about the Walker Squawker. That won an award this year, and that's a brand new product.
That's a brand new. So the product is phenomenal, but as good as the product, it's the story of the invention. And Rita Malone, who we used to work with, her daughter at Hasbro, who has stayed close to our company and really has it. And Rita, for 90 years of her life, didn't need a walker. And so now that she needs it, she forgets it a lot, because, for 90 years, you're kind of programmed. As Rita tells the story, when I get up to go to the bathroom, I get up, I go to the bathroom. I don't think, get up, get my walker, go to the bathroom. It's just it's not natural. And she said, but she also recognizes that, not taking your walker is a huge potential hazard. And so she, thought to herself, wouldn't it be wonderful if I had something on my walker that sort of made it more fun and engaging and helped me remember it. And so she had this idea of a bird, sort of perched on the walker, and shared it with her daughter. And her daughter came in one day to the office and said, my mom came up with an idea I got to share with you. And literally the co-founders sat around the table and were like, we want to do that. I mean, it was a 30-second decision. I have one here. I don't know if you've seen it, but we've got a bluebird and a cardinal, and they, so the same kind of idea where they respond to sound and to touch and to changes in light. And, you can get them to purr and coo. But then we have this universal walker perch here. And when you put them on the perch, they sort of change modes. And so when you move, they sing songs.
Oh,
And when they,
that's
it'll sing songs, and there's the more you, oh, I'm going to turn it right off because it'll sing the whole time. But when you stop, when you stop, it senses no motion, as if the walker stops. It stops singing and it goes into a mode where it gives you a reminder. Don't forget me, kind of thing. And really, when you go in and you think about, here's Rita here. She's on our package, so we love Rita. She is the best.
lovely.
She's 95 years old today. This is going to be 95, I think, at the end of this year. And we visit with her all the time, and she's got other ideas, and so we want to be around to harness those. But this just launched the last couple of months, and
Nice.
we hope it helps people and engages people. And turns out there's a lot of bird lovers out there too, so it's just great.
And I see the dog in the background. That's the one I had in the office. I put on the ground, and my dog brought a toy over to it to make friends.
Right.
And then got annoyed that he didn't respond.
Yeah, well, our dog may be a little less in tune with the real pets, but there's a lot of great videos out there of people introducing our companion pets to their real pets, and there's a mixed reaction in a lot of cases. So we've also, I don't know if you say, we've launched a couple of great games based on reminiscence therapy. And so one is a matching game that it's called Past and Present Pairs. And so if it's if the match is a phone, it'll be like an iPhone and a rotary dial phone. And the intent is to sort of strike intergenerational conversation and help, folks understand, sort of both sides of sort of the aging cycle, but also peer-to-peer. What we found is, as these things come out, stories start to be told, and you start to really reminisce. And I always tell the story of when we were testing this. I brought this matching game home to the house, and the two phones came up, and I said to my kids, I said, "You see that rotary dial phone? I had one of those in the hallway between my two siblings in my bedroom, and we got 15 minutes each after our homework was done. And if you were 1 minute over 15 minutes, your sibling was on you, like, it's my turn." And I said, we used to stretch that cord as far around the corner as it would go. And I figured, they'd be like, they'd think it was pretty fun. My kids are in their 20s; they're not like little kids. And so I figured they'd really think that I had to dial a rotary phone. That wasn't it at all for them. They listened to me tell the story, and they go, "You shared a phone?" Like, the idea of sharing the phone was just so foreign to them. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even think of that, right? In their world, they've never known anything but their own personal device. The other game is a chronology game that really has these beautifully illustrated sort of moments in history. And on one side, it has the picture, and the other side, it has sort of the date. And there's multiple ways to play both of our games, but you put it sort of in a chronology. And the best part of the game is that 30% of the cards are blank, and you actually write yourself into the story. And so it starts to memorialize your great events in your life, whether it's wedding or job or whatever birthday it may be. And you can start to share that again, peers, family, whatever it might be. And so both have been super exciting. We launched those in the last 6 months. And we have plans to, do some more really exciting things in that space.
Well, I appreciate everything you do. And I need to let you get back to your workshop so you can keep tinkering.
Yeah, we're actually doing a game. There's a group of folks in the back in our shop right now in our lab that are actually testing out some new games, and they're back there. So I'm going to go join them and see if I like the games too.
Wow, yours sounds like a fun office. I can't wait to get up there and see you guys.
Anytime, we'd love to have you.